This is Stephanie, and this is the Mocha Minutes Podcast. Hey guys, before we get into the episode, I just want to let you know about something that's a little new here at the Mocha Minutes Podcast. We are now participating in Buy Me a Coffee. So if you haven't heard, buymeacoffee.com is a place where you can show some support and some love monetarily to some of your favorite content creators. That includes me. So it's in the increments of either $1, $3, or $5, and you can do as many as you would like. So I just wanted to let you guys know, would love some support. So if you would go to buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. It will also be in the show notes. Okay, here we go. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Hello, and welcome to the Mocha Minutes Podcast. This is Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me. This sounds like a different earworm than you usually do, and I use the words of curse on this show. However, I know God is real, so there's where it is. I may be a cussing saint, but there's saint in the title. At least I'm striving to be a saint, trying not to be an ain't. So that was, as everyone says, it was on my heart. When people like come up with a song, they say it's on my heart. And that was on my heart, and because of things that have happened this week. You could direct it towards the political sphere and what the heck is going on in Congress. See, I just said heck, y'all. I am growing. See, growth. You could throw it towards Jen Shah, who got 6.5 years in jail. You could do it that way, but I'm not. I'm actually directing it towards Damar Hamlin, who is a football player a lot of people did not know before week 16, unless you're a Bills fan. If you're in Bills Nation, you probably know who he was. But if you were not, you probably had never heard this young man's name before. Now no one cannot know his number 3. No one cannot know his name, Damar Hamlin. No one cannot know what college he went to. He went to Pitt. So we know a lot about this young man. And we also know that he is on the mend. So as you know, Damar Hamlin is a football player. He plays the swine ball. I call basketball the shooty hoops. I had to think of a name for football. It's the swine ball. Hello, pigskin. And who better to talk about this with than, and I have to do it because he's here and I like when he does it, Cole from Cole Sportz. Hi, Cole. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm so sorry. You did a wonderful job, Stephanie. I like that. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me again.
Thank you so much for being here. We may also have a special guest by the name of Miss Cook. But we are recording, I will tell you, ironically, we're recording on January 6th, which is before and I love how they're now calling it, Cole, the season finale of this season. I'm like, since when have y'all been calling this a season finale? It's like, girl, this is not a housewife show.
Like, the longest season finale that I know.
It was like, oh my God, but because I was like, okay, so Cole, maybe you can know this, because I was like, wait a minute, it's not over yet? Like, how many weeks has it been? I'm like, y'all slid in those extra games, and it's like people didn't notice. I'm like, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why does like this season felt so long? It's like, oh my gosh, is it like this week is over? Oh, thank goodness. I'm like, please, let's do the ticker tape parade, because JJ Watt is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, go ahead, retire that boy. Retire him over, because he got a kid. He got to go home and take care of his kid.
Right.
And his brain and his body.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sorry. I made this joke, Cole, that I'm like, I love how JJ Watt just gave his 2-week notice. He's like, yeah, I'm quitting in 2 weeks. So here's my 2-week notice.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
It's like, they're like, how you gonna make it about him? It's like, yeah, but it was like, that was his last home game ever. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, no, I kind of don't mind that at all.
No, and I didn't either. And I mean, he basically, with him, I mean, he literally left it out on the field. I mean, he he did things to his body to the point where he would tear muscles completely off the bone, and he did it multiple times. Mm-hmm. You know, and he gave a lot to the sport. So him going out, I'm glad he's able to walk out. 1, 2. Hello. I'm glad he's able to be alert and alive to walk out. And 3, it is time for him. And I'm glad for him. I'm glad that he now gets to now try life after football, and he has a newborn and he has a wife along with it. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for the Watt family in general. Because you have JJ walking out, and you got TJ now tearing up the league.
Oh my! I'm like, I really wish you didn't play on the Steelers, because I would probably root for them more. Mark, boo, lame, tomato, throwing tomatoes, boo. TJ is wonderful.
Now this is what's so funny. All right, so I know you're a huge Ravens fan. Mm-hmm. I work at a place where my boss is one of the most hardcore Steelers fans I've ever met. So
hell. Is he wait? Like, I feel like I give excuses to diehard fans. Is he from Pittsburgh, or he just picked up the team like Snoop Dogg?
Well, actually, it's a she.
She.
Okay. Yeah, it's a she. And she's not necessarily from Pittsburgh, but she lives about 90 miles away from it.
Oh, she still counts. Okay.
Yeah. So it's allowed. Mm-hmm. But she's so endearing with it, because mm-hmm. she's so diehard with it, and she has such a great heart and a great spirit with it. And she loves the fact that I tease her endlessly because of her fandom.
I'm sorry. And the thing about it is, I should have known when they did the stats on the fandom, and they said 51% is women. It's like, I should have just said, is it a man or a woman? But yeah, please do. People tease me all the time because I say I like the Eagles, and and stuff. The Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? How about they suck? Okay. We don't care. I don't care about Dakota. Okay. I don't care if he looked really cute. If him and Kenya Moore get together, they would be really cute. Nope. She a little too dark for him. And y'all know exactly what I'm saying. Okay? She's not going to do it. It's not her age. It's her skin tone. Yeah, I said it, because Dakota be playing in y'all face.
Kenya Moore. Dak Prescott. Okay.
Dakota. Yep. F that dude. F him. Okay?
And yes, you're right. He does prefer to ski the slopes.
I'm just saying. Him and RG3. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah. I got to get on a Southwest flight to go get my baby. By the way, she had Braxton Hicks. But still, I'm like, girl, what the hell is happening here? What is happening? What is happening? It's like, this has been the NFL season. So, So can I just say, I play fantasy. I've been playing fantasy for a few years. I didn't play I think last year and the year before. But I picked it back up. I used to do it with friends, and now I just kind of do it. And for some odd reason, I could never get to the championship game.
Okay.
So I was playing for third place, and let me just tell you, F. Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Guru. I was like, because there's like I had Jimmy. Jimmy got injured.
Of course.
And I think I'm trying to think of who I can't remember what QB I drafted. I think I had Aaron at one time, and it was like, girl, why would I do that to myself?
And he had a bad year until December.
Right. It was like, girl. So then I pulled up Baker Mayfield because I think he was like that wild card of OMG. I'm like, oh, he's new. And I'm like, he is still that Sooner that dances but can't, complete the pass. And I'm like, you know what? I deserve to be in fourth place after that for Baker Mayfield. Okay. It's like, you know what? Sooner dance. Teach me how to Dougie. Do not teach me how to throw a slant route. Okay.
See, this is why I dislike the fact that my wife is not a football fan or sports fan, because I would love it if she had the knowledge that you have, because it's like, the sport and you tie it in so seamlessly with entertainment, and it just makes it a wonderful gumbo of humor. And I would love that.
I would be child. I don't know why I like talking about sports, but I also like talking about it with men, but I also like to talk about it with women, especially, man, let me tell you something. Women will hurt your feelings if you're a sports fan. Let me tell you about your raggedy ass team. Whoa,
they certainly can. Yes.
Wait.
Yes, they can.
Oh, woohoo. I'm like, and your quarterback ugly. Can I just tell you, this is the other thing. This is another knock I get because I'm a Ravens fan.
Okay.
I don't believe this is true, but my team is not the most attractive team. I'm like, you know what? First of all, I don't need them to be cute. I need them to throw the daggone ball. But I also would kind of enjoy if my quarterback was somebody I'd be ready to, you know what? Let me shut up. let me shut up.
Well, see, I can't comment on that because
you can't. You could, but it's like you don't have to.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I know.
So it's like, look here. I'm like, I get it, y'all, because everybody's like, look at like the big stars of your team. I'm like,
unfortunately, those who are males along me is not my cup of tea, but but I will not begrudge those who would like to have something that looks fine to them on the screen. So look, if you want to have your football players be able to throw a ball 50 yards down the field, while you fantasize about them simply taking you from living room to bedroom,
I'm just saying,
and just simply doing the business,
that will definitely
with
be a first down. Okay.
and scoring nothing, and while notching first downs and touchdowns with you, I will not begrudge you. I will not be one of those sports fans that say, I would not be one of those sports fans to be like, would you look at the talent and not look at him for if he's a possible suitor? I wouldn't be that. By the way,
look here. That's the thing. One of these days, I'm going to get into the WNBA shooty hoops. Like, I feel like one, because everybody who watches shooty hoops, they all say the same thing. The women play harder. I'm like, yeah, it seems like that's what happened. Let me tell you something. I can't. Nope. I'm not trying to get into a entanglement with Brittany Griner. Okay, she need to leave me alone. Stay home. You done cut off your dreads. I said, wait till she growing back. I'm like, I'm out of here. You know what? I'm out. Nope, I'm not. Do not put Brittany on my screen. Right. That means I can't watch. And Loki, Two Birds kind of cute. So I'm like, what is happening here?
Well, I mean, I will say this for, and I've said this on air. I've said this on my own air, and I've said this on air with other platforms such as yours. I'm about to now. When it comes to the sport of basketball, yes, it is more exciting to see men play, not because I think they are better and not because I think they are more skilled. Actually, they are less skilled than women. It's a different brand, and it's a more exciting brand because the athleticism is different. And I'm not going to say the athleticism is better. It's just different.
Yeah.
Now, with the women's game, you may not have dunks except maybe 4 or 5 in a year. you may not have the exciting fast breaks, but you get them. But what you do get is a fundamental brand of game that in the men's game is sorely lacking and missing. And I've said this often, going back in history, there was and you probably have heard the name. I'm sure your father probably mentioned him at one time. There was this coach at UCLA. His name was John Wooden, and he would teach.
Sound familiar.
And he would teach fundamentals, and you can have and he taught the men's basketball game. And he would just teach fundamentals, and he had a lot of great life lessons in his lessons. Like he would say things like "be quick but don't hurry" and things of that nature. And he was always on big players. And for those who are not familiar with John Wooden, he coached at UCLA at a time when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was Lou Alcindor. And after he graduated, in came this redheaded guy who smoked pot from one end of the country to the other, in Bill Walton. So,
not the weed head child. He smoked in the ganja.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Oh
wow. He was always about, no matter if you're the best player or the 15th guy on the team, you must be invested in the team. And if you're not, I don't care. You can leave the team. I really don't care about you. But if you buy into the system, cool. And when you do buy into the system, you're going to learn these fundamentals along the way. There was a quick story that Bill Walton told people about how John Wooden was to him. He said, there was a time when, I'm a free spirit, and I wanted to grow my hair long. And, Coach Wooden was like, no, Bill. If you're going to play on the team, you got to cut your hair short. It's because this is me. This is me. He says, Bill, if you don't cut your hair, sir, you will have to no longer be on the team. Now, if you do cut your hair, then you can come back on the team. And so then another week passes by. Bill is thinking that he can get by with it. Didn't cut his hair. And when he didn't cut his hair, Coach Wooden's like, okay, I told you. Now it's time for you to leave.
Wait a second.
Yeah. So,
well, hold on there, glasses.
So he left, and I think he was sort of stiff upper lip for about a couple of weeks. He cut his hair, came back, and of course, Coach Wooden accepted him, and then they went on to win more championships. But he taught a lot of the style that you see in the women's game today, where it's all about how you pass correctly. It's all about how you position yourself on the floor. It's about dribbling in a way where you don't carry, and it's about knowing the rules of the game, and being as smart with your play in your head as you are with your body. And that's the one thing the women's game in basketball has that the men's game, it has it a little bit in college, but it has it very little in the pros, because it is all about if you can break the ankles, if you can take a guy one-on-one, if you can shoot over somebody, if you can penetrate and dunk. It's all about athleticism. It's like I'll put it this way. You got the fundamentals with the women's game. You got the and one basically for the men's game.
Wow. Oh, geez. See, look at that. This is why I love having Cole here, so we can give the fundamentals and the history. I like, where are you gonna find that?
Thank you.
I'm just saying. So I asked Cole to be here because something big happened, and that. The thing about it is, I was not watching the game because one of the teams is in my division, and it's like, screw them. Okay.
Oh, so you were watching in protest? Gotcha.
No, I was not. I'm like, why you ain't watch the game, girl? What I look like looking at the Bengals? Get on out of here. It's bad enough when we got to play them. I don't even watch them, but that's neither here nor there. And mind you, this was the first quarter of the game.
Right.
In a few minutes in, there is a play that is made. A T. Higgins from the Bengals and Damar Hamlin from the Bills collided. Play stopped. All of a sudden, Damar Hamlin fell back. So if you look, so when that's the thing, I didn't watch this live, Cole, but when I watched the videos back, it did not seemingly seem like one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I feel like it was enough. Yeah. Because then all of a sudden he wasn't moving. It's like, whoa, which I've seen that before. Where it's like, oh, wait, oh, here come the team. And I was like, oh, okay. Then you see the tweets of people saying they had to do CPR. They had to bring out the AED. And you're like, they're like, because apparently, like, both teams were still on the field. Everybody took the customary knee. And then all of a sudden, a few minutes, like, I think he was on the field for not like 9 minutes. And then they sent him into the locker room. Right. And it was like, oh, so this is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And, they ended up calling the game, but it was not immediate. It took quite a bit of time, but it was very jarring for people. So the first place that I noticed it is because I follow the Shaziers. So Ryan and Michelle, I follow both of them. Mm-hmm. And I saw it on Michelle's first. And she's like, this is triggering me to what happened with Ryan. I'm like, wait, what the heck is she talking about? Because again, I was not watching the game. And I went, oh, sweet Christmas. I was like, because the thing about it is, I remember that game. And it was like, that was just, it was just like, wait, this boy is not, what is happening right now? Because you've seen players knocked out and they're on the ground. So it's like a player on the ground is like, you've seen that before. But a player that it was like, wait a minute, something is really big and they have to do CPR, which, by the way, if anybody's had to do CPR, it is very traumatic. It is not like the movies. You most likely will crack a rib. Right. So it's like, yeah. And also, please don't let that person literally vomit anything because you got to clean out the mouth and keep going. Right. It's like, it's very traumatic for anybody to do it. And it's also traumatic for the person that is getting CPR because they're not focusing on like cracking 2 or 3 ribs. They're focusing on trying to get this man to breathe. Right. So they took him to the hospital. He was intubated. He was in critical condition. And while all of that is going on, I think it took 1 or 2 hours after the start of the game for them to say, yeah, we're just gonna postpone this, not cancel, postpone. And it was like, we're not having a game. We're not doing this. It's like, girl. But then you also see his fellow teammates are like, what the fuck is happening out there? They are like in tears. They're like, what is happening? So for everybody to know, Damar Hamlin was a 6th-round draft pick for 2021. So he has not been there that long. Right. But he seems very endearing to the team. So of course it's like, this is not just, he's my coworker. It's like, if anybody who I've heard talk about football, who played football and they're an analyst, they're very much like, this is a brotherhood. And that's what you saw, even from the like opposing team, like, girl, what is happening right now? So it's kind of like, that man was not moving. And then it came to, because what's really funny about, it's not funny, haha, but it's interesting that other football players, especially professional ones, they all watch these games. They all watch, they play football and they also like watching it. So they always watch it. So to watch everybody just going, yo, what's happening on this field? Yo, what is girl? Oh, it's like, yeah, they're like, F this game. This game is not important. We're not doing this right now. And that's all people wanted to talk. It was like, it's like, yeah, we're good. It's like, nope. Nope, we don't care. We don't care. He also went to the University of Pitt. Right. So I think I follow a few of the university, the ones that I follow. So I follow James Conner and Aaron Donald.
Yeah, so, both University of Pitt alum. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, man, he's my teammate. Like, man, this is just because one, like, whether you are cool with him or you like didn't know, like, that's traumatic to watch. Because we couldn't really see what was going on, but those players could. Right. They're like, that they are shocking. I'm like, yo, they're supposed to be on this man on the field. I think Stephon Diggs ended up going to the hospital. They're like, girl, we are not doing this right now. It's like, this is not about a game.
Yeah.
So then it becomes okay, now we need to have a discussion
Mm-hmm.
because then it be so them postponing the games seemingly did not seem like the NFL's decision. It was the players' decision. Like, we ain't gonna make all that. No, no. This was not, it's like I feel like, and Cole, you might be able to answer this question. I don't think they have a protocol for something like this. I don't, and that's like you kind of like, I don't know if they do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, it didn't seem like, because they're like, oh, this wasn't the NFL's decision. I'm like, yeah, because they're always like next man up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, as someone who does HR, I'm like, can I just tell you that next man up thing is not just for football.
Nope.
People do that for everything across board when it comes to work. I'm like, well, somebody else got to do it. Step over them. And you could literally drop dead at work. The job will be posted within 3 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just no. It's like it's very much next man up. So it's not just a football thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part. Is like, so when I saw Michelle, and I think Ryan has also came out and talked about it, because one, his was very traumatic to watch too, because it was like this very big hype of he was going to be the greatest. I'm like, yeah, I don't think his mother or his wife or his children really care. They just want him here.
Yep.
That's it. It's like they don't.
Yep.
They don't care about any of that. So so did you watch the game live?
I did not watch it live. I was tending to the missus. I was
Come on,
talking with her.
missus.
Yeah, having quality time with her, and
Good.
well, I work early, so my bedtime was right about maybe I think a few minutes after
Oh, the game
this
started.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So at your time, normally I go to bed on the weeknights about Eastern time, about 9:30, 10. So
Okay.
I checked the phone. It was about 9:30 your time when I checked the phone.
Okay.
And yeah, because I wanted to know, well, okay, let me see the score. Let me see what's up. So of course I see, okay, Bengals up 7-3, still in the first quarter. Wait a minute. Delayed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why is this game delayed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my first thought was, okay, so normally they do delay games when you have like lightning storms,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want you to the NFL, they'll let you play through snow, they'll let you play through blizzards, they'll let you play through rain. But if it's lightning strikes in the area, they will hold you off and they will delay games.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first thought. But then I was thinking, wait a minute. I think it's clear. I think it's no weather issue from what I understand in Cincy. So there's got to be something else.
Yeah,
So
because
then,
it
of
wasn't
course,
in Buffalo. That would make sense. It's like,
right.
oh.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, this game's in Cincinnati. And yeah, there's no weather issue there. So I researched further,
Mm-hmm.
and then I read there's a player who's being administered CPR to on the field. I was like, what? Like, oh Lord. Okay. So then I had to see who the player was. Then I saw, of course, it was Damar Hamlin, and you were correct. Nobody before probably 9 p.m. Eastern
Mm-hmm.
on Monday knew him except for his teammates and maybe the most hardened of Bill's Mafia.
Yeah.
But no one knew who number 3 of the Bills were. They didn't know him.
Yeah.
They didn't, and like you said, they didn't know that he's a Pittsburgh native and that he went to University of Pitt. They didn't know that he was on the team where he actually was playing, because the guy who actually would be playing at the time, Micah Hyde, earlier this year, injured himself for the year.
Okay.
So, so Damar replaced Micah, and Micah is actually a Pro Bowl caliber safety. So he comes in and he did a pretty good job. Not as good as Micah, but that's really difficult to compare him to.
Yeah.
Because Micah Hyde is such an elite safety. But he did a really good job leading to this game. So cut to that moment where now it's about him, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing that Mayor said CPR. It's like, wait a minute, these suffer cardiac arrest on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh no, I think he did. Okay.
Mm.
All right. So then I went straight to YouTube. I was like, I gotta see what made this happen.
Yeah.
So I went to YouTube, found a video of the hit that you described,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a couple of choice words to say to one Bart Scott about that hit.
Lord.
So
Oh no, not Bart's. Oh Lord, what does this man do? Oh Lord. And up, um, guess who is coming in? It is my cookie pop. Hi, Cook.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good. So glad. Yeah, it's like I'm so glad you're here. When Cole said I've never recorded with Cook, I'm like, wait, what?
Listen, I saw the thing pop up and I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay, great. No problem. I'm here.
So now, note to self: if I need a guest, I'm gonna just throw you a Zoom link. And you're like, okay, so I'm gonna be there, Kay. All right, see you later. I'm like, oh,
I know I rushed through my meeting like, yeah. No, I don't have any questions. All right, bye.
thank you, but something like so. Note to self: I need a
oh
guest. I'm
my
gonna just drop the
gosh.
Zoom. Look, oh, Cook, I'm so sorry, but you can be there. Okay, thank you. Bye. I'm like, I feel
I'll
like
do it for
Pharrell.
you. Anybody else, they don't get me like this.
Oh,
But for you, I'll do it.
I feel
See,
so
look at that.
special. I
Look how
feel
special you
special.
are.
Oh my
See,
gosh.
he
But
is.
Mm-hmm.
all right, y'all
Hi,
make me cry.
Cole.
How you doing, Cook?
Good. Listen, I was supposed to get up with you many moons ago, and I still haven't forgotten, but I'm so glad I'm finally getting to talk to you today.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been far too long for us to get together. Definitely.
Indeed,
Look, now I
indeed.
gotta get in the song. We are family, like a giant tree. Love this
Go
so
ahead and
much.
sing, Steph.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So Cook, we are in the beginnings of talking about Mr. Damar Hamlin. And see, I was so focused, not I, but the focus was so much on Skip Bayless. But what did Bart Scott say?
What
All right.
what did he say?
Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
like, Bart
So,
Scott.
all right. So, when was this? Was this Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday. So he's a frequent analyst on ESPN's First Take, and I think he
Oh
normally comes
hell.
every Wednesday. And and I understand who he was because he was a former linebacker for the Jets and the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also aware of how he is as an analyst because it's like he cannot take the uniform off
Why
because
am I not surprised?
because the year before when Cincy had their way with the Bengals when they played in Cincy last year, uh he had choice words to say about the team, saying it's on site. It's on site.
Go
You
on
know,
site.
it's embarrassing. You know, it's embarrassing to have the Bengals beat up on the Ravens like that because when I was a Raven, we beat up on the Bengals that way. I'm like, dude, different era,
What?
different time. So
Wow.
so I was prepared for this when I heard him. I think it was Wednesday. All right, since you did my intro, I guess I'll do this for you too, Mocha. Uh, so he said, quote, T. Higgins is squarely at fault for putting Damar Hamlin in the hospital.
Oh no.
What?
Close quote.
What the heck? I swear that man
That's
is sniffing.
terrible.
He is sniffing glue. What is wrong with you?
So this is what I'm trying to understand from what I've been hearing. Is was his heart incident related to the way he was hit, or was it something that just happened? Like, do we know that yet?
I don't think we know that in full yet,
Okay.
but from what I could tell, I think it was just one of those. This is just one of those happenstances where it just was the ticker just decided to stop, but we don't know yet if it was, if it was something along the effect of blunt force trauma. You know how if you're in a car accident and you have something like that, a hit that will jar you to the point where your body just simply can't take it anymore and is so shocked that it just has to simply, like a computer, just crash and reload and reboot. we don't know yet, and we haven't heard yet from medical professionals if that is what happened to him to that degree.
Okay.
But what we do know, and to one Mr. Scott, is yes, I played, maybe not in the NFL, but I did play on the field. Wide receiver, no, ball handlers, ball carriers, whether you're a punt returner, kick returner, wide receiver, running back, whoever carries the ball. I have seen coaches teach those who play. If someone's going to tackle you, make them pay for it. Drive into the tackle, hit them, and make them earn taking you down to the ground. Now, back in the day, you had ball carriers who would use the crown of their helmet to actually hit a defender.
They used to go for knees.
Right. And they used to go for knees. Of course, now you get penalized and fined for it now. But Mr. Higgins did not. He did not dip his helmet, because that's basically what Bart Scott was saying. He said, look, it was an illegal hit by T. Higgins. He dipped his helmet and he connected squarely into the sternum of Damar Hamlin. No, he didn't.
No, that's not what it looked like either. Because that's why I said when I saw the hit, I'm like, that's not the hardest hit I've ever seen.
No, it wasn't.
That's why I was like, okay, did I miss something? Maybe it's a different angle y'all want to show me. Because it didn't look like he hit him that hard. So that's why I'm like, That's why I got really confused.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad takes out there from a number of people, because it's just, I think the incident really, for the team, from what I'm seeing, it just kind of shocked them, because apparently this was a really nice guy. He was, very active in charities and community service. So for this to happen to them, it just impacted the team the way that it did, and kind of shocked everybody into reality. Like, they want to, honor him. So that's what I'm gathering from this. I think a lot of people were shocked by their team's response to not continue to play, because, you've got the one crowd, people take hits like this all the time. I've seen people, blah, blah, blah. You get back and you play, you keep playing. Then, there's the other people who just don't know what the fuck they're talking about and are just like, well, how do we move forward? Like, oh my God, like we could save Skip for later. But it's like, I think it just says something. I think this may be the start of something for players, where they are taking their body and their mortality a lot more seriously, and begin to start demanding more care for them, especially, like a retirement, they've talked about this before, retirement plans, pension plans, and universal health care, things like that. Well, some sort of health care. But it's just a sad situation, and it's just not helpful when people are just coming through with bad takes. We still are trying to figure out what happened. It's what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead, Cole. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. And then on top of it, T didn't deserve that. I mean, he was basically doing what he has been taught all these, not just as a Bengal, but in college, in high school, in junior high school, and when Pee Wee League. I mean, that's what he was doing. And to have someone want to throw blame at him, and I know he felt possibly a big amount of guilt for it in the first place.
He's probably feeling bad already.
Right.
On top of that. So yeah, that isn't helping either, because there's no proof of that.
No. And credit to the Hamlin family. And this is another thing that I love about this whole story. Not only is the young man a quality, his family's a quality too. So they took their time and they actually reached out to T. Higgins and they said, look, dude, you're fine. You didn't do anything wrong. You good. And we have no issue towards you whatsoever. You did what you're supposed to do. It was just unfortunate. So don't blame yourself at all. I'm so happy the family did that.
Yeah, his dad has been phenomenal throughout all of this, and making statements and making sure, people are aware. But based on, the way that he's handling it, he does seem like a really all-around great guy too. You're right.
He just seems like a real sweetheart. And then also, it's very interesting where Bart Scott, I swear, ass hat. That's all I'm thinking when I think about that man. But there are so many times where you hear players get injured in practice, or they have a no contact injury. Like, people have literally hurt themselves and nobody touched them. So why are y'all like trying to put all of this on T. Higgins when
Right.
he was doing what he was supposed to? And when I'm looking at it, and I'm not an analyst, I'm not a coach, but like that did not seem like the hardest hit that I've ever seen.
And it wasn't.
That's I'm like, okay. I'm like, is this the play y'all talking about? Because it's like, okay, there must be something else there, but it could have just hit them. Because I think the first thing they said was vasovagal, which honestly is a very scary thing to watch. It's like that's a very good when someone has a vasovagal reaction. Like you can actually have that, like if you're straining too hard to poop on the toilet. But we're actually watching someone. It's like they could be talking, and 2 seconds later, they're on the ground.
Yeah. And that was the
initial one. It was like
that. Yeah, that was the visceral reaction that I actually had when I actually got to that video and I saw it.
Okay.
Because he popped up. When he popped up, I'm thinking, okay, because I was thinking he's being administered CPR. Well, what happened? Because he seemed to be all right after the play, and then all of a sudden I see him fall limp to the ground. And I'm like, oh no. And I mean, I love football. I love watching it. I loved when I played it. I love analyzing. The first, the last, and the only thought I had was, I want Damar to get back up. Correct. I want him to be healthy. I want him to beat this. I want him to come out of this at some point and be alive. I just want him to be alive. I don't care about if the game continues. I don't care about the playoff picture. I don't care about the upcoming playoffs. I don't even care about week 18 that's coming up this weekend. All I'm caring about is this young man getting up off the turf or being alive in some form, shape, or fashion. That's it. That's all I cared about.
Completely it. It's like, that was it. And the thing about it is, like, the reason they're not playing another game is not because the NFL suddenly grew like their hearts grew 2 sizes that day. It is because the players like, we are not going out there. We are done. It's like, we don't care. Fuck where, like, I don't care what we playing. I don't care. They're like, the thing about it is, it's like, if they had stuck to their next man up, they probably would have played a game Tuesday or Wednesday. Not Tuesday, probably Wednesday. However, they're like, absolutely not. It's like, I'm not going out there. And the thing about it, NFL can't make you. Yeah. They're like, they can't make you go back out there. So that's the thing. The players have a lot of power. And it's like, I like that they're exercising it. Because if they all said, we are not going out there, you have no game. And that's exactly what happened. They're like, we're not playing with them. Like, no, we're not doing
it. It's time for them to step into their power. Not just this incident, but a number of incidents. Like, it's time, and that's what I've been, because I still am not watching the NFL because Colin Kaepernick is not playing. And I'm thinking I'm still the only person still protesting that. But I think it's just time that they step into their power overall. Like, you guys are giving your bodies for this.
Having consistent pain. You gotta be like Deion Sanders, like, only got 8 toes. I'm like, okay, so what the hell?
I didn't know he lost toes behind his thumb. Like,
yeah, he lost toes. Yes,
he lost toes,
and he could have been amputated.
Yes, Cookie lost toes.
Yeah, it's like he could have had his leg amputated. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
When he showed his feet, I was like, my God, in heaven today. Like, what is
happening? I was like, how did I know that? And the bad part, he didn't also know his family medical history, where he's like, oh no, we ain't got no history of blood clots. And his mom's like, actually we do. He's like, oh, word.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad you just told me.
You gotta know your family.
So you are a grown ass, you're 50-something years old, and you don't know this is in your
he
family
don't know the
medical
sugar
history.
Running his family. He don't know about the sugar.
He don't know about the sugar. He don't know about blood clots. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. Y'all, what?
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's 55. So, yeah.
Like, sir, I'm like, hold the phone. What? You don't know that? You're like, oh, word? I'm sorry, how old? You better say you were 26. No, I'm kidding. You were like at least 53 years old before you found out that blood clots run in my family. Like,
yeah, so it's about right. He probably was 53 when he found out. But to your overall point, Cook, and I'm glad you actually said it the way you said it. It is time for the NFL players to actually take power, because the leadership of their grouping has led them astray so bad, so often, and so horribly that they literally bend themselves over backwards for these owners to just straight up mess over them. And it's to the point where their labor union is the weakest of all professional sports without question.
And that is so sad.
How do you justify generating $1 billion for an organization and they can't make sure you get to the doctor regularly?
They can't even, like, I don't know what analyst was talking about the money for Damar Hamlin, where it's like he's only getting this, and this. And it's like, yeah, because that's the other part about this, because we talk about, they get paid. I'm like, yeah, they get paid game day, they get incentives, they get bonuses, I guess signing bonuses, but also they get game day checks. For the most part, people get game day checks. You ain't playing, you ain't getting no check.
Right. And that also extends to off season. Players don't get paid checks in off season.
They do not get any money in the off season. So you better manage your money or be doing like stuff for sponsorship. That's probably why. Because when Gronkowski said he had never touched any of his season money, he only spends the money that he has on sponsorships. I'm like, do you know what you have to do to actually do that? But also, Gronkowski has 3 or 4 Super Bowl rings. People are comping him left and right.
Yeah, he has 4 now. Yeah.
It was like, I'm like, so Gronk, I hear you, but it's also like you're Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, oh, Gronk coming out. Oh yeah, come on over here. So
you have a profile in football that very few have afforded. So
you can say I don't touch this money, but they're probably comping you as well.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe they can get paid like teachers, like they set aside money during the school year. So during the summertime when they're not getting, they're not working, they have money still coming in. Like there's a lot that they can do, a lot of way they can structure themselves so that they're comfortable. But like I said, with the money that they generate for the owners is just obscene amount of money. They deserve better.
Here's what sucks about what you just said.
What?
And you're correct, Hook. The NFL takes home, not earns, not creates, takes home. And so this is after people get paid off. This is after the advertisers and the TV people get their money. The NFL takes home $17 billion.
Yep.
They take home a year. They take home $17 billion. Now, that breaks down to, if you have 2 teams, you 2 teams will get $1 billion. So basically, a team will basically have about maybe $500 million. A team will actually earn $500 million.
Yep.
But the owners pocket more than half of that.
Sure do.
And why is that? Well, there used to be a time where the players actually earned more than half of the revenue, but the owners locked them out. This is like back in 2011. And then you had the now Colts head coach Jeff Saturday, when he was a player president, went tears crying to Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. And it's like, we just want to play, Mr. Kraft. We just want to play. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm like,
why are you crying to a billionaire? Like,
you are the product. Why are you handicapping more than 2,000 people who you're supposed to be in charge of?
And this is why Eric Reed was like, y'all could kiss my ass, because they like, please look at this again, because it wasn't even about giving people more money. That's not even what they wanted. They wanted health care for veteran players or non-active and retirees.
And they still don't get it.
And they still don't get it. I'm like, girl, I'm like, can you imagine? You got consistent chronic pain. And they don't even want to give you health insurance once you off. And like you're not vested in the NFL to what? Is it 5 years?
Yes, 5 years after you retire, the NFL cuts off all health insurance.
That's
like
stupid.
Because I think that's what, and I wish I remember this man's name who said like Damar Hamlin just got there last year. He's not vested in the NFL. I'm like, no, this is only his second year.
Poor thing.
And
And
it's
then
like,
but then you see the veterans like Joe Montana limping around. Like
uh,
Joe's knees looked, oof,
there's a lot of them
Yes.
is just like, I wake up
they
in
Yeah.
pain every day. I'm like, you stopped
Yeah.
playing football 15 years ago. Why are you still waking up in
still in
pain?
pain.
And that's why.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
it's
why.
like, and I think they all, honestly, they all have a case. They need to really pull together and just do it, like, because
Y'all have a lot of more.
at the end
Y'all
of the
could
day.
stop a game. Y'all, the team, the
The
players
players
stop
game.
that game on Monday, not the NFL. And the thing about it is, they probably pulled the two teams. Hey, are they gonna do it? No, we're not. Hang it up. Hang up the cleats. We're not
Flat screen.
Flat screen. Hang that shit up. We're not redoing season 17, like season 17. Week 17. We ain't doing it. Let the chips fall, come what may. Don't care. We not going back out there.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. And it's like, what the NFL can't, they can't fine you. They can't do anything to you except go, okay, well, just, this is what's going to happen. Like they give a good goddamn.
And yes, and to your earlier point, Stephanie, no, there is some protocol for this. This set precedent.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because that's what I asked him. I'm like, I don't think there's a precedent for what we saw. It's like, what do y'all do if this happens? Because I mean, there's been plenty of players where it's like the game was delayed 30, 40 minutes. Well, 30, 40 minutes on our clock, not a play clock. Where you're watching. Ryan Shazier is the one that sticks out to me.
Here's what's so funny about that. His unfortunate circumstance happened on the exact same field.
Yeah, I swear. I'm like, look here. Why is the Bengals stadium Lake Lanier of NFL?
I don't know.
They're the Lake Lanier. Okay. It's like, what the hell is happening? I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up. Is this Tales from the Hood? Are there little dogs all over the stadium? Because y'all asses are haunted. What the fuck be happening to all these players from opposing teams, by the way?
They better do right by them little nigglets.
I'm just saying. What is happening? I'm like, why is it everybody else, not y'all team, all the opposing team? I'm like, girl, what is happening? Y'all put roots on your opposing teams? What is happening?
And that's the same field where all the sense of Antonio Brown got knocked out too. So yeah.
Well, he looks like his head rattles like a bell anyway. No, Stephanie, that's not nice. It's true, but it's not.
He probably does have. Like, it's something wrong with him.
He has a few screws loose.
Okay.
I'm like, look here. I'm like, I want to know. Look, here at NFLPA, hello. Hi, this is Stephanie saying this. Do not write the call. Do not write the cook. I suggest y'all start pushing for CTE research and live X players.
Thank you.
Stop looking for people who have died and may take some people with them or unalive themselves and go, maybe you should look at this. No, because there's some wackadoos out here that you could look. Come in, Antonio. Tell him there's like half-naked, light-skinned, non-black women in a room, and he'll let you look at them. Bring him in that room and put him in this room and start looking at their asses. It's like, look, I'm like, your NFLPA. Start asking for fucking more.
Or else
be looking at this.
Or else we'll still look at him trying to audition for being the hype man for Drake.
Child, what the heck? It's like he out there doing rap music. What music?
You know what? That's one of the worst things. And it's across the board. NFL, NBA, MLB, all the worst thing you can do as an athlete is try to start a music career.
Like it always gets me when the Shooty Hoops boys do it. I'm like, I got this diss track. The what? This for what? If you don't shut up and dribble, get out of my face.
Oh no.
Shooty Hoops will never not.
Did you bring Folklore Ingram in this?
Oh, God. Get the fuck out of my face. You know what? Why are you rapping? You ain't got nothing else to do. You could be lotioning your legs. Go tell your white buddies to go wash their legs. You got so much to do instead of starting a whole rap career. Sound like the hip hop Dalmatians. Ren 10 my ass. Shut up.
Tell the black guys to lotion their legs, to the white guys to wash them. Oh my gosh, it's such jewels you dropping.
Yes.
Y'all could be doing something else. All
That's
right.
my homegirl.
Y'all know how I be. Because I'm like, I just gotta squint at them. I'm like, hook here. I feel like Cook is in that house for Medea's family reunion. Take your place. That's what she's saying to the NFLPA. Take your place.
But she's right.
Take your place. I know.
But that's the messed up part is she's right. Correct. They need to take their place.
That's why I'm sitting in the rocking chair with my long hair going, is this what we paid for?
Because here's the biggest yeah, right. Here's the biggest indignity of all that. And you two mentioned beautifully one of them, which is these players 5 years after retirement, they don't get any health insurance. These players do not get fully guaranteed contracts. Remember?
Nope.
Yeah, remember last year when there was this big brouhaha about one Mr. Deshaun Watson getting a fully guaranteed contract last March. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, your beloved owner, Steve Bisciotti, said in lieu of this, thinking about Lamar Jackson, that he didn't think a player was worthy of that much money fully guaranteed. So now we can fast forward, because he said that in late March. We can fast forward now 9 months. We could look at Mr. Biscotti and say, do you believe that now? The NFLPA needs to hold out. And unfortunately, I wouldn't want to see it, but I think it needs to happen. They need to strike. And one of the reasons why they need to strike, and the biggest reason why, is they need to say to these owners, we want fully guaranteed contracts for every single NFL player without question. Because you cannot have a gentleman like Damar Hamlin out there fall straight out and have cardiac arrest and not monetarily take care of him. That is irresponsible of the employer to do that.
The thing about it is like he doesn't have, like, he's a rookie, right? So he's on his rookie deal. You still paying him his game day check while he is out really ain't gonna hurt you because one, we're talking about this happened week 17. Week 18 is the season finale. By the time y'all hear this, it'll be the season finale. I'm like, girl, what in the Desperate Housewives are y'all talking about? The season finale? Shut up. Are y'all still talking? Shut up. It's like, what are you talking about? So y'all
literally, it is the season finale. You're right. Go ahead.
Because when I'm saying season finale, I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, y'all could still pay him. I mean, mind you, it's still week 18. He gets no checks after. Well, actually, no. Do they get a check if they go into postseason for the games?
They do. They do get checks when they go into postseason. I forget how the pay scale goes, but it's so minuscule in terms of
it's
how
not
much
factored
money
into their deal.
No, it's not factored into their deal, but it's so minuscule what they get in terms of what they actually earn, like the money they generate, because these playoff games draw a lot of money.
It sure do.
And the NFL gets paid handsomely for every one. They get paid handsomely for one of those playoff games, let alone all of them. And we're not even talking about the Super Bowl. One of those playoff games, they get paid handsomely. But the players, though, it's like I can't remember the percentage, but it's a very minuscule percentage.
So yeah, because the reason I asked is like Bills is going to the postseason. Y'all could fucking still pay him. Just easily. Just pay him. It's like, oh, better yet, take care of his stuff. It's like we're not doing this with y'all because y'all did it with Ryan, which you should. Because excuse me, hello, I'm HR. That's workers' comp. If I know anything about it, he got hurt at work. You have to take care of him. He got hurt at work.
They should be demanding that a workers' compensation if they get injured on the field during play. Like, yeah, the guarantee that either they're going to get paid their guaranteed contract, or they're going to take care of their expenses. It's got to be something. And that's the thing.
Either
they
or.
can afford to
They can afford to do both if we're being honest.
Truth be told, and that's what makes it so. That's the indecency of it all. They can easily afford to do these things, and you all are giving your bodies this organization, and they're not doing it. It now I'm starting to look at some of these players sideways. Like, what is it? Is it the white supremacy? Like, what is it?
We sick. We are sick.
So y'all can't care enough about these owners. Y'all can't tell me y'all care more about these owners than you do yourself.
Yeah. So before we
Yes.
get into Mr. Skip Bayless, there's a man by the name of Eric Shun who literally changed his whole Twitter handle and deleted tweets because yeah, child. So Eric Shun is somebody who also works for ESPN because, that night really dictated what I've been saying, and both of you are witness to this, that I've been saying since it started this damn podcast. When it comes to athletics, the majority, they love black athleticism. They don't love black athletes. Athlete is a person. They
do not love the athlete.
They do not love these athletes.
No, ma'am.
You are accessible to everybody, everything. It's like, oh, girl, next man up. The thing about it is, it's like, yeah, that whole next man up thing, I swear, is steeped in white supremacy. Because one, why are you telling people to literally put their whole bodies on the line to fucking entertain you? Like, this is like the Coliseum. We're gladiators. Yeah, people who rugby, gnarly sport to watch, by the way, they don't get half the shit that y'all get, and they have less padding. They don't have the same levels of the CTE. They don't have the same levels of the injury. It's like, yeah, what the hell is wrong with y'all? And it's like, yeah, because it's like, if you do rugby stats, do they get concussions? Yes. Is it the same level as NFL? No. And they don't have that, like, they don't have the equipment that the NFL does. Like, so what are they doing different? Makes you wonder, what are they doing different? So Eric Shun, who changed his he changed to 8 Shaft Sports. I love that he's acting like he ain't just change it. He said, I was hacked. It's like, girl, what the hell is wrong with you? It's like, we are not stupid. So he responded to Skip Bayless, because I was like, oh, he deleted it. That's hilariously funny. It's too big of game and people have too much money on the line. Gotta play on. This is what y'all keep saying about a week 17 game, which, let's be very clear, for the most part, the postseason picture has been painted. So the thing about it is, the Bills are going, the Bengals were not. It's like, y'all going into week 17, it's like, the Bengals weren't going to nothing. The Bills were definitely going. So right now, it's like, one, around week 17, 18, you should be resting your starters anyway. Jerry Jones. I ain't resting these starters. See, this is why you fucking suck. This is why you suck, Jerry Jones. That's why people be spitting on that star, because you are whack. And your quarterback is named Dakota. This is why you are whack.
Are you still upset that Gerald, because I never call him Jerry, I call him by what his mama calls him. So are you upset that Gerald was at that Little Rock High School back in 1957?
Notice how, like, a lot of the people like, let's talk about it
at the age of 14.
Talk about that. It's like,
saying that he
I didn't know. I was just coming up. I was just trying to figure out. You are a bald-faced lie.
Saying that he was curious as to say what was going to happen.
You was curious to see about the busing and people calling black people niggers. Is that what you were curious about?
Seeing how the color people going to be traded. Get out of here, Gerald. Really?
I can't fucking. And it's so funny to watch. Where it's like, I don't know if it's just cognitive dissonance or why y'all not talking about this, or the fact that y'all not surprised that some old white man was racist probably 30 years ago. I'm like, oh, you're just like, well, I mean, people grow. Do they? Because I don't think Jerry Jones has grown nowhere where he's not like, I'm gonna rest my starters. If you, sir, when the last time y'all been in postseason? Are you kidding me? I would have put everybody on the what's it called? Oh, the practice squad, third or fourth strings. Let them have some minutes in that game. Well, especially when they they probably ain't played all fucking season. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, we're going into postseason. Oh yeah, y'all can just sit there. Y'all ain't going out there. But again,
this is literally just
like, girl, what? But this is the same league. Eric Shun really agreed. So yeah. For reference, Skip Bayless still has not taken down this tweet.
He said he wasn't.
And he said he wasn't. He wasn't. And it's like, on one hand, Cook, I'm sitting here like, I'm glad you're not acting like you ain't said. On the other hand is, you've got a lot more shit. Like, You got enough shit for it. You could literally just delete it at this point. Everybody got the screenshots anyway. We know what you said, boo. We've seen the articles. It's in there. You could delete it. And it's like, on one hand, I'm like, girl, if you're going to say some bullshit, stand up in it.
Here's the thing.
But you need to be knocked the fuck down on that.
When I looked at the tweet for myself, it just seemed like he just had a lot of questions, but he's so unlikable.
Because
the way you say it, Cook, is like, absolutely on point. Because that's exactly how I feel too.
Right. So it's like, this is so unlikable. It's like he's just an ass about this. So the thing about it is, I feel like if it was someone who was genuinely liked, I don't think this would have been the same thing. So for a few people who do not know what the tweet is, this is what Skip Bayless tweeted at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the night of the game. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? ? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, ... which suddenly seems so irrelevant. It was irrelevant before season fucking
it should be.
It's so irrelevant. I'm like, yes, it's week 17. This is not week 12.
Okay, fine. Yes. If we did not have a person unfortunately have to be resuscitated on the field, yes, it's important. But having somebody that you actually saw on live TV collapse onto the field at midfield and seeing his teams huddle around him, basically protecting his privacy because they didn't want his brother to be shown with cameras all over him while CPR is being administered to him. And probably AED kits all over him too, shocking his heart. That basically takes precedence over. I wonder if how it can be if the Bills can't make this game up and they do beat the Patriots this coming Sunday, but they don't have this game. Wouldn't that mess up things with the Bills? Who gives a crap?
Who cares? They in postseason. They don't care what fucking field you are on. They don't care what fucking field you're on. We in the postseason, girl. So there are 4 tweets. I'm looking at, because to his point, when he said he was not going to do it, he meant it. He said, I'm not going to do it. So he has a series of 4 tweets. First tweet, not exactly sure what happened to Damar Hamlin. Players on both teams are shaken. Ambulance out on the field. CPR administered. Can't remember play being stopped for this length of time. Just said a prayer for him and his family. Next tweet. I've seen so many horrific injuries suffered on football fields, yet never have I seen a reaction like this. And every other situation I witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, that's football. For these players, this was different. Third tweet. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. The last tweet. Nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. See, this is where he fucked up. I'm sorry if that. See, that's the thing. I'm sorry that it was misunderstood. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. I prayed for him and will continue to. See, this is where he fucked up. That was the point of my last tweet. Your last tweet was no doubt the NFL is considering. I'm like, sir, he meant initial, not last. You dumbass.
See, and I have to leave because I got to finish up.
Sure. Thank you for stopping in.
No problem. I just wanted to come talk to y'all because I love y'all. And plus, Stephanie sent this to me by accident, and I was like, I'm coming anyway. I'm coming anyway.
It's like, oh, good. I just know I'm gonna start throwing Zoom links in your message. Like, okay, I'll be there.
Oh no.
Like, I'm just out here saving the world. Let me just what I'm doing, and
go ahead, Cook.
This is what it is. This is what I do. But no, he should have stopped after that third tweet because the answer was there. Like, this is correct. Different. This is different.
He said it. This was different. This is different. You could have left those other 2 tweets and left them on. Those first 2, he would have been literally shuffled in the sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know, he had to be Skip and
Skip.
Sit down.
Yep.
Let's talk about Uncle Shay Shay.
I can't wait for this to come out so I can listen to the rest of this.
Okay.
But y'all be easy, okay?
All right.
You too,
Thanks
Cook.
for coming, Cook.
No problem. Anytime.
Hey,
Do it again. Do it again.
Right.
So,
Bye, Cook.
when I tell you,
Oh,
like I'm just on Zoom links and I'm like, here's a meeting. You be like, you're doing this on purpose, ain't you? You're doing this on purpose, like I am. So those 4 tweets, and I'm sitting here like that is a block of tweets where you're just like, the first tweet really isn't bad. The second one isn't bad. The third one was like, I feel like this is what I've noticed sometimes with Skip, and I don't really pay attention to him that much. He tweets what's on his mind, and I'm like, girl, you do not know how to edit or keep shit in the drafts. It's like that third tweet could have been fine, but then to follow that up, well, I'm sorry if that was misunderstood. What part was misunderstood? Please explain to us. Explain to me like I'm 4. What part of that last tweet? This is like, you meant your initial tweet. You should have said my first tweet about Damar was about his health, which technically is true.
Yes, it was.
That's what like the first. I'm like, because the thing about it is like in that block of when you have the context, it's like he's not a incomplete piece of shit, but what he did was shitty. And it's like the thing about it, no one is telling you to delete your opinion. You can have any opinion that you want. We're saying like, read the fucking room. Read the room. I feel like Skip is not his real name. I want to call him Kyle. Read the room, Kyle.
Well, yeah, Skip is not his real name. It is a nickname. His real name is John Edward.
Oh,
the second. John Edward Bayless the second.
John. God damn it.
John Edward Bayless the second. That is that is the name his mama gave him.
Oh, John Edward. Just read the room, John. This thing about it is like the first 2 are like literally no one would pay it attention. So then he's getting back, like I guess he's responding, girl. It's like, sir, you are getting roasted. Twitter's now doing this thing where it looks like it gives you the like stats of the views of a tweet. No one liking or reposting or commenting. So apparently, according to Twitter, he has 44.8 thousand likes to this tweet, 108.3 comments to this, 82.7 retweets, and 166.4 million views. It's like, girl, you are getting roasted. So we come to the next day where all of a sudden Shannon Sharp is not there.
Peace.
He did not show up, and then he came the next day. And then you see Shannon being Uncle Shay Shay. You knew what this was going to happen. So he trying to talk, and then he said, I hope Skip the time out. Time out. I'm not taking
time out. I'm not taking that tweet down.
It's like Shannon maybe what I saw on camera, Cole, is watching someone try not to cuss out their friend when they fucked up because they're their friend.
Yep.
I'm your friend. We've been doing this show, so I know they are actual friends. They're not just coworkers. They're actually friends.
They are.
So that's what you saw. Like, I'm gonna give you this grace because we buddies. But if it was anybody else, I'd have cussed your ass clean the fuck out by now.
And if this light when this light turns off, I will.
Gotta be like Benjamin Watson. Gotta like readjust somebody. Like, we got these empty chairs. I don't know what happened. They came back. Ben Watson was quiet. I'm like, y'all think that Christian man ain't come and beat that man's ass? He's like, he'd be like, let me explain something to you. You mentioned my wife again, and I'm going to you are going to need to eat your meals through a straw. Mention her again. It's like it got real quiet. And then like to watch Shannon, I'm like, see, the thing about it is this is not the first time in the last few weeks that they've had a disagreement. So I'm like, see. And here it is. Y'all are pulling on a thread, which is going to unravel Undisputed. I wouldn't be surprised if Shannon's like, I'm not renewing his contract, but Shannon like money, so probably not. I don't blame him. It's like Club Shay Shay is a nice podcast. It's a nice show, but his day-to-day check is coming from Undisputed.
Right.
So it's like, I feel like if it came down to who do we want to keep, it's probably going to be Shannon. Skip could probably go. But it's kind of like you kind of like them bouncing up. Like I kind of like them bouncing off each other. But Skip Bayless, that third tweet is so Skip Bayless. It's just ridiculous because one, he don't ever think he is wrong, and he has a hard time apologizing because he's like, they're not telling me to apologize for my tweet. Yeah, no one's asking you to apologize for your opinion. We're asking you to apologize for your callous behavior.
Yeah, and as you actually said beautifully, read the room. So I'm so glad you broke down all the tweets because I your opinion is exactly mine.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, on his face, could I say that I have a problem with the tweets on his face? Not really. But can I say that I have a problem with it when those same thoughts are echoed right around the time Damar Hamlin is being issued CPR, right around the same time that an AD pack is being put on his chest, right around the time when he's being loaded into an ambulance? Yeah, that's why I have the problem. So here's where I get to the woke niggers.
Not the woke niggers.
These fools wanted to defend Skip so hard
Ciao.
that I found it absolutely embarrassing. Not ridiculous. I found it embarrassing. It's like I guess you just don't understand nuance, do you? You just don't understand it. Yes, you can read the words and say, well, Skip basically was saying that the game was irrelevant compared to Damar Hamlin. Yes, that's there. It's live in living color, right? The thing is, the questions that you normally would ask about this situation, which did come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday after the fact, it came out of his consciousness when the event was happening.
Correct.
That is the problem I have about his tweet. I'm thinking to myself, you can keep that thought to yourself. It goes to a rookie symposium about 20 years ago with one of my one of my favorite head coaches of all time, in Herm Edwards. At the time, he was a head coach of the Jets. He ended up being head coach of the Chiefs, and of course, he went on to be head coach of the Arizona State squad before they fired him for ridiculous reasons. But I won't go into it for right here. But in a rookie symposium, he actually was saying to these rookie and okay, for those who don't understand, a rookie symposium. So around the summer, after these draftees, they know where they're going to be, and they are in that. I think they do their OTAs about late May, early June.
Okay.
So after the OTAs, they hold this specific like meeting time. So between early June and late July, when they have to report to training camp, it's in there. So normally we're talking like mid-June, late June. So they hold this rookie symposium. They have former players, they have coaches, they have analysts who have been in the game for many, many years. Try to basically smarten the rookies up to not have them fall into some pitfalls that others that came before him did. So Herm got in front of the group and he told them, look, I know that, and I know that you all are with wanting to show who you are. You have personality. You want to say a lot of things. You want to be who you are. And Twitter wasn't as big then, and and of course Facebook. Instagram wasn't even a thing in 2002. But the advent of basically owning your own media was starting to arrive around that time period. So he said, "See, listen. You can say all these wonderful things, and it's great, it's wonderful, but do me this one favor. Take the time to read what you write and ask yourself the question, should I send this or not? And if you have a doubt about that, don't press send." Now, do I think that Skip had a doubt about some of these tweets that he did? Possibly not.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost lean toward, I think he may have, if he actually had to clarify what he meant in one of those tweets in the very next one. So to me, this was a don't press send type of scenario. And we're talking about a guy who has been a columnist. He's been a journalism for as long as we both have been alive. So, I mean, he was covering the Cowboys, what, late 70s, I think 77 to 78. So he's been in this business well over 40 years, close to 50. And, to me, he's written enough articles to where, he would have to make sure that, okay, this does make sense. I don't think I'm going to be injurious to somebody or disrespectful to somebody if I were to send this. I mean, by this time, he should have that type of understanding about his work because he is 71. And yeah, he does have a little bit of old man, get off my lawn type of energy. But really, I mean, you saw a man on live TV fall to the turf, and you're wanting to ask questions about the playoff picture and the end of the regular season of the NFL. Really?
When he said, "But how?" as easy as it just happens, easy as 1, 2, 3.
What do you mean? What do you mean how?
But he's like, "But how?" I mean, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? Easy, like this.
Yeah. Guess how they considered it. The
players like, we ain't going back out there.
So you had the head coach of the Bills and Sean McDermott look at his players. I doubt if he even asked a question to them.
He didn't even, all you had to do is look at these grown-ass men's faces. Stephon Diggs, I think he probably took a whole bath to go put some clothes on and go to the hospital. He didn't do everything he's supposed to do. He's like, no, I just need to make sure he's okay.
Yeah. The head coach of the Bills, I don't even think he had to ask any of the players.
That's not a question that we're having. We're going.
Right.
We're getting off this haunted house building. This place is haunted.
Right.
It's dork-sided in here, okay? For opposing teams.
It must be. I mean, he saw it. I mean, he saw Stephon Diggs crying. He saw Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills, crying. Mm-hmm. He saw Tre'Davious White, who is one of the greatest cornerbacks in today's game, crying. Those are the three biggest names on the Bills. And they're shedding tears for a guy who barely just cut his teeth in the NFL, let alone the Bills. And he met with Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals. And he basically just said to him after Zach asked what he wanted to do, he says, look, I just want to go to the hospital. I can't coach the rest of this game.
They're not going to be able to focus. This is not when a player an ankle, a knee, a concussion. Right. It's it was just different because it's traumatic to perform CPR. It was probably traumatic. Actually, not a probably. It is traumatic to watch somebody to get not only CPR, they had to resuscitate him twice. They also needed an AED. I'm like, girl, they're not going back out there. Yeah. And the thing, I'm glad they're like, no, ma'am. Mm-hmm. No, ma'am. You want to go back out? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So Mr. Bayless wants to know how. Well,
easy. The how you ain't got no fucking players.
Right. The how was the players were like, we ain't doing jack on this field.
I'm not going back out there.
We ain't playing another down. That's how.
Absolutely not. And the thing about it is so I feel like this is an unpopular opinion about Shannon and Skip and Shannon's choice to not be there the next day. And I know it's unpopular. Let me just be very clear. Shannon should have showed the fuck up and dug in his ass.
You know something?
I'm sorry. I get it. And Shannon, I don't want people to misconstrue. Then show your ass up, Shannon, and stick up for them players.
You know
Skip do not know anything about this brotherhood. You do. He even brought up his brother, and Skip still interrupted him. I'm like, baby, Shannon, you should have sat in that seat with that too tight tie suit on, looking double cheeked up on a Monday, and dug in his ass. was like, Skip, do you understand why what you said was poor timing? You can have any opinion that you want, but do you understand how that looked? Poor timing.
Yeah.
You're his friend. You could have actually talked to him about it, but you just not showing up and like, I'm making a stand. Your stand is standing up in it and getting in his face and cussing his ass clean the fuck out.
You know something? As unpopular as that opinion is, I can't disagree with it. And the reason being, I had someone who actually said something similar to me when I was on another show. I was actually hosting another show. And he actually said, you know something, man, I really hated the fact that Shannon didn't show up because I think he should have. And he was saying that he should have just so that he could basically say, look, call Skip on the carpet to his face. Don't do it by being absentee. Do it being present. So yeah, in what you're stating, I understand that, and I actually agree with it from the premise and standpoint of that extra day got exactly what we saw, because Skip felt like, okay, well, heck, I addressed it, and he even said it in the 1 minute 30-second monologue that was interrupted into when Shannon spoke. He actually said it. He's like, look, I was told that we weren't going to talk about this.
Because you wanted that protection. Because he's so used to being protected because he is a mediocre white man who is at his mediocre takes, not hot nor cold, mediocre at best.
Yeah, and what makes his takes hot is basically insulting the players by calling them horrible names like Terrell Owens. He calls him team obliterator, things like that. You know, but yeah. I would have loved for Shannon, and I understand why Shannon was probably gun shy, because he had to witness doing this last month, seeing this guy literally disrespect and spit on his own legacy when Shannon was correctly, I may add, actually dissecting why Tom Brady this year, for the quarterback for the Buccaneers, was playing horrible. Even though, yes, the stats would say otherwise, the team record is now, well, the team record as of this recording is 8-8. And possibly by the time, no, they're playing the Falcons. By the time this is recorded, they'll be 9-8. I doubt the Falcons will win. But so here's this guy who is pedigreed more than possibly anybody in NFL history. Definitely a quarterback, he is. And he had basically, to me, a mediocre year and had subpar moments. That is what Shannon was saying. And the dude has decade-plus knowledge in the pros of seeing a quarterback play at the highest level and seeing that same quarterback not play as high on a level. And so he's diagnosing this guy saying, nah, Tom is not the guy that you saw 10 years ago. He's not the guy you even saw 2 years ago. And because Skip Bayless rides so hard for Tom Brady and capes so hard for him and will basically put the pom-poms up, the only thing that's missing is the fact that he doesn't do cheers on the air for Tom Brady. The dude got offended by it and actually had the nerve to opine to Shannon, well, you're jealous because you retired at 35, yet you see a guy who's still playing at 45. Really? You're going to go that low below the belt, and this is supposed to be your friend. You're going to go that below the belt on air to this guy.
To Shannon Sharp. That man has 3 Super Bowl rings. Right. What are you talking about?
Yes. So, and then he asked this question to Shannon. He said, okay, so in your opinion, who do you think watches more film? Tom Brady, who, yes, he is a film rat, no question, or the coaches? And Shannon correctly answered the coaches. Okay, for those who are unaware of how any football team, especially in the NFL, but any team lays out, you have the head coach, you have the offense coordinator, defense coordinator, you have all the position coaches that you could possibly have, which is running back coach, wide receiver coach, tight ends coach, offensive line coach, defensive line coach, defensive end coach, linebackers coach, secondary coach, special teams coach. I just outlined 11 coaches.
Mm-hmm.
If one guy who is the quarterback, who probably watches, and probably have one person for the exception of maybe the head coach, watches more film than everybody else, is probably the quarterback. No question. But you mean to tell me these 11 guys I just named watches less film than this one guy? Then that means the team is doing pretty horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So Shannon answered, yes, the coaches. And of course, Skip was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, what? I was like, what do you mean you don't know what you're talking about to a, not just a Super Bowl champion, but to a Pro Football Hall of Famer? Really? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about? And then, of course, when Shannon gets upset and he says, I'm in the effing Hall of Fame, I got 3 Super Bowls, Skip says to him, so what?
Mm-hmm.
So I get why Shannon himself was a little gun shy, because I think he was like, I had to restrain myself from going off on this guy. And he came close to catching hands when he disrespected my legacy. I'm not sure if I could restrain myself. So I can understand it from that aspect, but from what you described and what another friend of mine described, I'm sort of with the both of you. I would have loved for him to be on TV, not because of the drama, but because I think you needed to have Skip understand, look, there's a time and place for everything. Look, I know, Stephanie, you've had wise parents who you got brought up and they taught you a lot of things. I know one of those lessons was, honey, there's a time and a place for when you say something.
Mm-hmm.
I know mine told me that. Yeah, this might be true. This might be right. And you may have a point, but sometimes you should say less. Sometimes you shouldn't say this particular thing. And for some reason, this 71-year-old, I think, still does not have that lesson understood. And I believe that you have someone in Shannon Sharpe who could have taught him that lesson on that very day. Like, look, you're dealing with a fraternity. You're dealing with a brotherhood. You have to understand, because you don't, that if they could have soldiered forward, they would have. But I don't give a crap who you are. You see anybody have cardiac arrest, because that is unfortunately what happens to Damar Hamlin Monday night.
Mm.
When you see somebody suffer cardiac arrest right in front of you, you're not thinking about the future. You're thinking about right then and there. And you're hoping and you're praying that this person could be resuscitated, revived, and be alive again. That takes precedence over everything else. And if you were to say anything else, it would mean that you are being tone deaf. I'm sorry, Skip. You're being tone deaf in that situation and trying to paint playoff scenarios and what would happen with the rest of this game and what it mean for the seedings with the Bengals and the Bills. Damar Hamlin was the most important thing, not just in the game, not just with the Bills, not just with the game, but with the entire NFL industry.
Mm.
And if you can't understand that, you don't need to report or commentate or analyze anything about the sport, because it means you do not give a crap about the human beings who participate on the field in it.
Yeah, because again, he only cares. See, that's the thing. It's like, thank you for that. I'm sitting here like, Skip, it really is a piece of shit, because it's a tweet like the worst thing I've ever seen. No. However, is it extremely insensitive and callous and wrong to put that out? Absolutely. And that is what he could have spoke to. But when you are so used to thinking you are the Howard Stern of sports analysis, you don't think you make any mistakes. You fucked this up. And it's royally. Like, Shannon, I get it. We all have that one friend At least I'm not at my age because girl, nope, I ain't got time. But you have friends, and I've noticed, and it's like, I'm so sorry. It seems like Cole with your demographic, which is men. Y'all all have that one friend
We do.
that you're like, oh God, please don't say anything. Oh Lord, no, please don't say anything. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because let's be very clear. Shannon is not his caretaker. He is not
Right.
his dad. He is not his wife. So it's like he ain't like turning, he's not the neck that turns the head any way they want. But Shannon, you have been sitting across from this man, have been talking for what, 4, 5 years?
About 5 years, yeah. About
And
five,
he
close to 6, yeah.
he has not learned anything because he's getting right, like downright indignant and curmudgeon in his age. And it's like, no, I'm tired. I just want to say what I want to say. Sir, get a podcast. Get a card table. Wait, you have a fucking
He
podcast.
has one. He has one. The Skip Bayless podcast.
Right.
Yes.
Save this shit on for your podcast, not on that, not on Twitter, not on national TV. Because the thing about it is what got me, because the guy Eric Sean, who literally changed his whole name and whole Twitter handle and said, girl, I don't know what happened. I got hacked. Shut up. No, you didn't. Bots do not respond that way. Girl, shut up. It's like, oh my Lord. He was responding saying, you ain't say nothing wrong. Girl, fuck you. It's like, girl, fuck you. Okay. The thing about it is, it's like, I get it, Shannon, why you're like, girl, I only want to sit next across from you. You still shoulda. You still shoulda. Skip, let me explain. Because one, you have been talking about trying to like insert humanity into a sport that is inhumane. A fandom that is inhumane. It's next man up. I want my entertainment. Keep politics out. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and throw. Do not bring us up. Stop reminding us that you're people kind of fandom. And it's like he wasn't even listening. And it's like you can sit here and say like Shannon needed a shot because of his alleged like tone of speech. I'm like, I don't think anything's wrong with his speech, quite frankly. But again, as conservative as baseball is as a sport, it seems like sports analysis is somewhat conservative too, which is probably why they had a problem with his colloquialisms. They probably had a problem with his non-white Southern accent. So they probably had a real big problem with that, which is why him getting on with Skip Bayless, like, well, people don't really fuck with Skip anyway, but now you see more people fucking with Skip. And then it's like, Skip Bayless is the exact same person he's always been.
Yeah.
He'll say callous shit and won't just apologize for being wrong place, wrong time. We're not telling you to apologize for your fucking opinion. Because let's be very clear, there are people who agreed with him.
Oh, plenty.
They're looking like, I'm sports betting. Look, this is going to mess up my bet. Like, y'all are not playing fantasy. Fantasy is over. So there is that.
Yes.
That was done week 16. So y'all, there's nothing new. Sports betting, whatever. Analysis, sure. It's like, girl, shut up. These are people. They're not little. This is not iRobot and they out there playing the games. This is not Avatar where someone's controlling an avatar and going out there.
Yeah. And this isn't Hunger Games where you actually see someone play get killed, but you understand when they yell cut. Oh, cool. We can go on and do something else. No.
Correct. And it's like, Skip, you were out of pocket. And instead of just saying, and this is my other thing that got me, because him and Eric did the exact same thing. I'm sorry that y'all misunderstood. Please stop acting like people can't read. You said what the fuck you said. You standing in it. Please know we are not stupid. And I'm like, okay, sir, what you meant to say in my initial tweet about Damar, I could have helped you because that's technically, if you had said that, your follow-up tweet would have technically been correct. If you had said my initial tweets about tonight, well, what happened with Damar tonight, which one wasn't callous? His second tweet wasn't callous. His third tweet is like, girl, what the hell are you talking? Girl, what? If you don't sit in that house and talk to Ernestine, get you a group chat, get you a therapist. Find a group of friends where y'all can sit in a group chat and talk about this shit. Don't put it out on Twitter where you got millions of people looking at you and like, y'all really don't care about these men. No, they don't. Hello. Because I think a lot of y'all didn't notice that part. I could have told you that. Cole could have told you that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they don't give a damn. Excuse me, where's my entertainment? Because everybody loved Colin Kaepernick till he reminded you, hey, hi, I'm also black.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, what?
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah, it's messed up that you have a fan base. And yes, the funny thing is you have a fan base. Somewhat baseball is this way too, but definitely football. And it was definitely heavily apparent in 2016 and 17, where the humanity of people was simply chopped underneath because these players had the audacity to not do a step and fetch it job, to not listen to ownership, to not count out to them, and to have the utter gall not to not stand up and disrespect the flag. And I'm saying to myself, are you absolutely kidding me? We live in a country where you're proud of this, and you say it because if that were to be you would have an issue with it. If someone were to say to you, well, you know what, you can't do this, the first thing out your mouth would be, well, doggone it, my First Amendment rights are protected. I have freedom of whatever. But it's so funny that you look at somebody else and they don't have the same freedom afforded them. And it's amazing to me that even now, I actually saw this picture. It was photoshopped, obviously. I actually saw this picture 2 days ago, and it was a coworker of mine who had a lot of fun with it. So it's a picture of the Seahawks in a locker room, and supposedly, talk on it. It was one of the Bennett brothers. I think it was Michael Bennett.
Oh Lord, that man, they are funny. I
love them both. They are absolutely.
They crack me. I'm like, girl, please.
They are absolutely hilarious.
Sport. I say, oh.
They are absolutely hilarious. So I think it was Michael Bennett. So it was Michael Bennett, and of course in the locker room too was Richard Sherman. There was some others, and supposedly, and this picture was circulated back then. Supposedly, they were holding flags of the United States, and the flags were burning. And they were doing it in a locker room. And they circulated this ridiculous false propaganda out there. But there's one problem with that. It was inside a locker room, which means if it's inside of a locker room in a building, guess what will be triggered if you have that many things burning? The sprinkler system.
Lord have mercy.
I'm like, it's so sad that we come down to this ridiculousness when it comes to fandom. It's like, that you now have to, and I think you understand this too, Stephanie. You now know you have to deal with a certain sector of people who simply don't have the brain capacity of an ant. And I'm like, what the heck? 2 + 2 is 4, right? I'm like, right. Come on. I mean, these are human beings. These are human beings, and they're humans doing. And you want to cheer for them to do good for you, but it's more along the lines of what they do when they have the uniform on, not when they take the uniform off. Newsflash. When they take the uniform off, they still are just as human as you are.
Correct.
So when they take the uniform off and they show that they're human beings, you should, I don't know, respect them for their humanity too.
Correct. And they can't do that.
No.
So we do have an update about Damar Hamlin. He actually was able to FaceTime his team because he's still in Cincinnati because he's in the hospital in Cincinnati. Right. He was able to FaceTime with the team at the team's meeting because they appeared like on FaceTime, it's on the screen, and of course the team erupted. Like, oh my gosh. Because I think when he first woke up, he's like, did we win the game?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not surprised by that. And the doctor's like, you won the game of life. So he is off. He's able to breathe on his own. He's actually also walking on his own, and he doesn't have to use like the writing pad. Um, and it's like, this is just amazing because there's no neurological damage, because I think that was the other part of
that was the biggest
concern. Like,
I think that was the biggest concern.
What's going to happen? Yeah. And so, he was able to, like, not that, loud, because, he had a breathing tube. And for anybody who doesn't know,
of course,
breathing tubes help you breathe, but let's be very clear, it literally dries the hell up out of your throat, because there's a lot of mucus in your throat, keep it lubricated. On a breathing tube, it sucks up all the air. So that's why some people just cannot talk, or they have trouble talking, or it's really low like this. So he just said, love you boys to the team. And Deion Dawkins, who is the left tackle, said, we got our boy, man. It's all that matters. They do not care about a game. They do not care. They do not care. There's like, girl, we in a postseason, even if they weren't. Yeah. Even if it was like game on the line, they're like, y'all, they watched this boy got resuscitated twice. They do not give a fuck. They're like, we still got paid. They're like, I showed up for work. I still got a game check. Don't care. Right. Even if they didn't get a game check, they don't care. Mm-mm. It's like y'all are doing this weird thing with Black athletes where it's like, oh my God, I mean, they don't just got another person. Of course they do, but I don't think anybody will be ready to like take someone's place if they watch them be resuscitated. So I want to sit here and just go, I feel like this is a time to kill, where I'm sitting here saying, hey, y'all, close your eyes. And we tell you this situation. Now pretend that we're talking about Tom Brady. Pretend that we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Pretend that we're talking about Matt Ryan. Pretend that we're talking about Robert Gronkowski. Pretend that we're talking about a white football player that y'all love to death. And that is what is happening. Y'all were like, pay him some respect. Look at all he did. Let it be JJ Watt. Let him literally have a heart attack and y'all have to resuscitate. His heart got shocked back into rhythm. However, if that happened on the field, y'all would be like, y'all going out there? How callous y'all don't care about this man.
Yeah. Yeah. NFL, what is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Pretend that's Tom Brady on that. I don't want anybody. His fucking family was there. His mama
His mother saw it. That, see, to me, that right there was open and shut. His mama
was there.
His mama saw her son fall flat on the turf. I'm like, everybody else in that arena does not matter.
Because you think about like families, they definitely go all out for home games. This was not a home game for the Bills. Mm-hmm. Right. His mama was there. Right. His family was there. Mm-hmm. That is enough for me. It's like, his mama is watching all this. Forget the thousands, millions of people watching this. His mama was in the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, whew. I know that was tough for her.
And it's like, it's for family. And it's like, his mama was there?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That was tough.
It's like, that's his mama. I'm like,
and
I know my mama, your mama. You be like,
right.
Girl, we like have a simple car accident. She like, where you at? I'm on my way. What's going on? Because that's how my mama was. That's how my mama is.
I'm about to say, that's how your mama is. That's how mine is. So,
right. It's like, imagine you getting like, seriously. So I can tell this. Let's wrap this up. But I'm gonna tell this short story. So I had back pain. And it was just like, excruciating. I ended up having to get my gallbladder out because I had gallstones. And I remember, I'm like, mind you, I'm where I am. I called my mama. She got dressed, because I think I called my brother first, and then he came with my mother, and she walked in this, like, she was ready for war. She said, let me look at you. Okay, come on, we going to the hospital. It's like, girl, it's like, if he got the kind of mama that I got, it's a wrap for y'all.
Oh, I love Miss Pamela.
It's like, she like, let me look at you. Okay, so we're going. It's like, let's go. We're getting you in the car. Let's go. It's like, if he got the kind of mama that I got, kind of mama that Cole got, it's a wrap for y'all. It's like it don't even matter. Fuck this game. Like, let's be very clear. It's like even for like Ryan Shazier's family, because it's like it was very touching that they kept him on the roster and paid for the insurance. I'm like, oh baby, but he ain't there no more. And the bad part about it is your team could literally afford to keep him there. That's the thing that's like really like a Ryan Shazier or like players who like get cancer and they have to go through cancer treatment, so they on IR. Y'all could actually literally afford to keep these like players on roster in some kind of either IR or sign them to the practice squad. Do something.
That's what they did with, now he's retired, former quarterback for Washington, Alex Smith. That's exactly what happened to him.
Because what was the other? It's another black quarterback. It was just like, girl, what the heck happened to this man? Teddy Bridgewater. That man stayed injured like 3 years in a row. And it was like, keep him on the fucking roster because he's getting injured at work. I'm like, hello, these are not people who are getting into a car accident on the off season. They are getting injured on the job.
Yeah. And that is a huge problem. The fact that the protection, whether it be economic, whether it be medical, because you have to have resources to make sure they're mentally strong and able to capably handle what has transpired and how to move forward. Whether it be physical, whether it be psychological, you have to put these protocols in place. And what I am hoping long term, I'm hoping that the NFL sees, okay, yes, we're making this money hand over fist. And yeah, I know we're entitled to this money because we own the teams. But we need to stop treating these players as if they are, I hate to say it this way, but I'll put it in these terms. We have to start treating these players like basically they are picking cotton on our fields and start actually treating them as employees and respect them as human beings, because they are risking their lives for the mere entertainment of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that part is missing. And when it gets caught up to where these owners actually can actually show that they do care, and really the only way they can truly show it is through all of the money that they earn, that some of it can go back to their teams via their players. If they can do that, then I think the game can progress further, and then they have learned a huge lesson from what happened to Damar Hamlin. But if they want to go status quo like they do with concussions, and they just say, oops, it's a part of the game, it's violent, that's just how it goes, and these players, no, you want to go there, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to have, and I'm not wishing it, but I know it's going to happen if you haven't learned, you're going to have an incident where, another player will fall and you might not necessarily revive him. I don't want that to happen. But if you treat these players like basically like cattle out on the field, that is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here, Cole. I really am glad. And I know Cook had to dip out, but it's like having this conversation with you and Cook has been very freeing. I'm only talking about it. Just definitely prayers to his family and to him and to the person who literally saved his life.
Yes.
Part of the training staff. Because let's be very clear. His life was saved on that field.
It was
saved. It's a lot. And it's like, you got to sit with that. And also prayers to T. Higgins, because I can only imagine what he's getting from people who take this way too seriously. It's like one, if you look at it, like if you were to ask me what's the hardest hit you ever seen, it would not be that.
It definitely wouldn't. And it definitely isn't for me.
And and I was just like, maybe it's just me, but it don't seem like that was a hard of a hit. No. It's kind of like I've heard, like, when the sound is up when two helmets hit, I'm like, that's where it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's worse. And that is not what happened.
That's not what happened. You would have thought that this man was battering ram and punched him in the chest. That's not what happened. So you're kind of
No.
like, you're going to have to figure out what happened. We can add in this
Right.
thing where the demographic that is black men is either misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. He could literally have something wrong and he wouldn't know. Deion Sanders was 53 years old and he didn't know he had, like, there was a history of blood clots in her family. There are people who do not know that about their family.
Yeah.
So, because it's like it just gets missed. Mm-hmm. Even though these are elite athletes and he should be checked for it, some things they do not check for.
Right. And so because because Deion did not know that, he had to have 2 of his toes amputated.
Correct. It's like he didn't even know. And it's like, man, he's 53 years old finding this out. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why is because he had problems with your toes. What if he never had problems with toes? Something else could have happened.
Yeah.
What if that didn't happen? See how this works? Mm-hmm. And so, that's the discussion about Damar. He is looking like he's going to recover well. Not like it doesn't even matter if he's back on the field. Yes. He's just able to be there. People are going to, he has started a GoFundMe for like kids. They're up to like what, 7 million at this point?
The last I heard is it's over 7 million. Yeah.
Like, and it started like a few thousand. It's up to 7 million.
His goal was 2,500. That was his goal. All? That was his goal.
Oh my gosh.
His goal was 2,500 and now it's over 7 million.
It was like, I'm just trying to do this because one, it's like he's at a position that is not necessarily endearing to football fans. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a QB. He's not a running back. Thanks to the J.J. Watson, Aaron Donalds of it all, the defensive end. He's not a linebacker.
Right. Yeah.
He's not a cornerback. It's like he's a safety. And I don't know if he's a strong safety or a free safety.
Yeah, that I'm not sure of. I would say I would lean more toward free, but I'm not sure.
Of his size. Yeah, I'm looking at his size and like I think because it's a safety. And then when you look at like people who vote for the Pro Bowl or other things, then you see free or strong. And you're like, how come y'all don't say free or girl? What is happening here? What is happening here? So yeah, the fact that he was very modest because he knew he just got there. He was a 6th round draft pick. So he's just like, look, I get to play ball. Mm-hmm. So,
and I mean, you listen to any story about him, any story from his teammates to the coaching staff, they love this man. They love him. They love him. And to me, this is a great story of, he may look the part of, many people will probably look at him and say, oh, he looks like a thug and all that type of junk. No, he's just a responsible young man who has this dream of wanting to be an NFL player. He's doing it. Mm-hmm. He unfortunately had this medical circumstance happen to him. And you're starting to hear why people really love him. Mm-hmm. It's because he is a quality, not just black, just a person. He's a quality human being. And guess what? Most of these players, especially the black ones, are quality human beings, just like Damar.
Mm-hmm. I love because I think that's the part that people get, like, because they're people, but they're like generally all around good dudes in the NFL. I mean, in any place, but mostly in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, and it just something very, very traumatic happened to a good dude. I'm like, he could be a piece of shit, and it still would be bad.
Oh yeah, it would be bad, but he definitely isn't a piece of crap. He's a quality human being, and it makes my heart so. This actually makes my week to see the progress of Damar. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that he's able to walk and talk, because it could have ended a whole lot worse. Yeah. So I'm just happy that he is still here. I am loving the display of brotherhood from his team. Yeah. It's like, no, this is a brotherhood. They're like, no, that's our brother. I just watched my brother get resuscitated twice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And no apologies to Cowboys fan. Mm-mm. And even no apologies to Patriots fan, because I always kid Cowboys fans saying Patriots really are America's team. America's team right now is the Bills.
Okay. It just is. Like week 18, look for like everybody be doing their dedication. There are gonna be a lot of threes, a lot of blue threes around the whole league.
And before I go, I have to give a shout out and applause to Cincinnati, the city of Cincinnati, of course, University of Cincinnati Hospital for helping this young man regain everything and tending to him. Bengals fans, the Bengals organization, and even the crowd there that night. They were so respectful. They were so classy, and they had been classy all throughout. And I saw it every night. They would have certain parts of downtown Cincinnati lit up in Bill's blue and red, hoping that Damar would recover. And Cincinnati has shown up and shown out. Bills Mafia is my favorite. They're my favorite sports fandom, period, because they are absolutely crazy. I am so happy that they get a chance to see one of their own that they root for actually be able to be alive. And I am so looking forward to the rest of the season, not necessarily just because of the play, but because I think the worst thing that we have seen on a football field happen, we now have crossed over and we have seen this wonderful individual survive it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so happy that we could say that Damar Hamlin survived it.
Yeah. Yes. So the last person I want to mention is the assistant athletic trainer who saved this man's life. His name is Denny Kellington.
Yeah.
If he had not jumped in where he did with the CPR, Damar may not be here, or he would have had neurological. It could have been other things, but because of his quick thinking and him being able to administer CPR so quickly, that saved this man's life. They're now talking about Danny could lead CPR classes. I'm like, he probably could.
Yeah.
It's like he probably could, but I think it's also you got to be mentally prepared to do CPR because it's a lot. It is not as simple as people think, because when I had first learned it, it was more breaths than compressions, and I think now it's more compressions than breaths. And I'm like, that's interesting. And I haven't taken a CPR class in maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've taken it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like at that point it was like more compressions than breaths. I'm like, that's very interesting. So, but Cole, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you for listening to this episode. Before we get out of here, Cole, please tell everybody where they can find you and find your show.
All right. Well,
shows.
Yeah. Well, I do a show called Get Over Divorce. You can find that on YouTube. Just go at Get Over Divorce. You'll find it there. You also can find me at Revelations, which this wonderful hostess here has been on multiple times. Yes. And she will find her way another time on the show. I know it. Just go on YouTube and just type at Revelations with a period at the end, and you will find those interviews. And of course, how she's gotten to know me and how many got to know me, you can find me on YouTube at Cole Sportz with a Z. That is Cole Sportz with a Z. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. It is Cole Sportz.
Yes.
With the Z. And you can find me there.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Cole. Thank you so much. And Cook is the host of the Highly Inappropriate podcast. You can find it wherever podcasts you catch your podcast, except for SoundCloud. SoundCloud is for the rappers and the DJs. It is not it's not for podcasts. If the Reed can figure that out, I can figure it out. Everybody else can figure it out. Okay.
Well,
just saying. That's how he is. Also, if you want to follow Cook on Twitter, her handle is HighSpanNet. So it's HighSpannet. That's where you can find Cook and listen to Highly Inappropriate. The girl's back. We got a new episode. Yes. So yes, it's like we back. And yeah, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the Mocha Minutes podcast. I will be back next week. Again, send some love and light to Damar Hamlin. Send some love and light to T. Higgins, because I'm like, he's like, I did my job and I didn't do it wrong.
Right.
Just a freak accident. But thank you everybody for listening.